Coming to you from the historic Hart Building in Marysville, California, in Studio 93, In the Tank with Fish, with your host, Bob Fischetti.
So this is, I don't even know what episode this is of In the Tank. Kurt keeps track of that. But welcome everybody. I unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, Kelly is not with me because Kelly got busy. She's making so much bread and got kids and just life. Right? But who knows, when things slow down after the summer, she may come back. So I don't have Minnow with me. You just have Fish. And then today, my special guest is, what was your name again?
Oh, Fish. You're killing me.
So I have Sami Nall with me. And I say that's a little bit of an inside joke because I met Sami. And then she came in for an interview about Beale. We were doing Beale. And I looked at you, I knew you, and didn't know your name, didn't know anything.
I came in, it was a week later, and I came in and I was like, I was so excited. I was like, Fish is going to remember me. We had this great banter. I go in for the hug and he goes, you awkwardly give me the hug. And then you go, and what was your name again? And I just, my happy balloon just deflated. So, and it was, that was embarrassing.
So the rest of my life.
You'll never forget me again.
Yeah, I'm going to get harassed about this. But I met you because of the air show.
Yes.
And I did not know that what you do existed.
Yeah.
The liaison. And so I thought, well, I'd really like to get Sami in a podcast when it's, we can mention the air show, but who is Sami Nall? Now, how did she grow up here? So did you grow up here?
I did. Born and raised in Yuba City, spent just as much time in Yuba City as I did in Marysville. And so, born and raised.
Were you a honker?
I was a honker.
Come on.
Gosh, I wish they would change those colors.
I know, the brown and gold brigade, And, it's like I was kidding somebody. I really like Lyndhurst High School. I went out and visited that. Yeah. We have interns from there and that. And it's actually like a secret. It's like people don't realize what a great campus that is. They got an incredible audiovisual thing, and right. But I just told them, I said, I think I'd change my mascot. The little devil. Who is the little devil? I mean, it's like, so the honkers, I think, is better than little devil.
Is it like little?
I'm a honker too, and I wish they'd changed the mascot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody knows what a honker is unless you grew up in the area. You go to college and you go, oh, what was your mascot? A honker. And they go, well, what is that?
My oldest boy, we moved up here in 93, and my oldest boy had just graduated from Elk Grove, because that's where we lived. And they were the Elk Grove herd, the Thundering Herd. Come on, the Thundering Herd. And my youngest son had to go to school up here. He was a honker. And I'm telling you, those boys were not kind to each other.
Oh, I could imagine.
They just, right? And so you've been here all your life.
Yes. Pretty much, I'm a California girl.
Yeah.
I went to school in Davis, right? I like it. I wish I could sing like you. Nobody wants to hear that.
And but you kind of let the cat out of the bag. We were out there talking to the interns, and so you studied engineering.
I did.
So explain that to me. What was? I just can't get. Not that I don't think you're brilliant. I think you're brilliant.
Now you.
I think she's brilliant.
Making it up, right? Trying to suck up. Dig out of that hole, Fish.
It's not going to happen.
You're too deep.
I'm trying to. Hey, men, do not use my methodology. It apparently is not working. And but how did you get, were you always interested in that?
When I was a honker, I loved math and science.
Oh.
It came so easily compared to the English language. I speak English, but being articulate and writing essays, I like the 1 + 1 is always 2. It made sense to me. And so I remember driving to Sacramento kind of in my junior year of high school, and my mom saying, "Hey, what are you going to major in?" And, I go, I don't know, something in math or science. And she goes, "Well, whatever you do, major in something that you're going to get a job in." And so it was engineering from the start. Now, what type of engineering? I kind of bounced back and forth, and I ended up as a civil engineer, and really focused on environmental sciences or environmental type engineering. So, I got my bachelor's from UC Davis. Did not want to get a job yet. Still wanted to live off of my parents and the lifestyle that I didn't have to pay bills.
Accustomed to.
Right, exactly. The lifestyle I got accustomed to where I wasn't paying bills. And so I kind of dragged that out and went and got a master's in engineering. I love school. If I could just be a full-time student and my parents pay the rest of my bills for the rest of my life, I would.
I'd gone back in the military. I have a bachelor's in business, and I changed my major like 3 times. My minor's in psychology, and so I went back in, and the Guard was willing to pay for me to get my master's.
Awesome.
And I love school, but at the time I was in early 60s. I was like, I don't need what do I need a master's for? Nobody is where am I gonna get hired? I'm already working, right? And so, but I like school.
Yeah.
And I hear you with that. So you're very organized.
I try to be.
Your junk drawer is organized.
Oh no, my junk drawer. I'm a closet like junk drawer person. Like throw all that junk in there, especially when guests come over, because I am organized. I have piles of paperwork in different locations, but when guests come over, it all gets shoved in the closet, and like, don't open up that door. You might be inundated by an avalanche of junk. But it was organized at one point. So,
so it's like those comedy shows where they open the closet and everything falls out, right? It's like so you're very outgoing, but you have a shy side. You have you have another side. So
I'm introverted if I can be. I'm an introvert.
That's what I was going to ask. So when you were younger, was it like that? You were like the kid that I'm not jumping in there unless
I have to. Yeah. I am not the person that gets energy from like interacting with a lot of people. I can do it. But I'm very much okay, I'm going to go home at the end of the night, and I'm like, nobody talk to me. I'm very much an introvert in the end.
So where did you end up going to work at with your degree? And
I started in consulting. So I ended up with engineering or environmental engineering. So I focused on water, wastewater treatment plants, pipeline design, doing stuff like that. And I liked it. I realized I wasn't necessarily always a design engineer, where I actually put out drawings and such. So I kind of went more of a policy, and I then went to the Department of Water Resources with the state, DWR, for a while, and really focused on flood issues.
Boy, you're in the right place for that.
Exactly. I remember the 97 or the 86 and the 97 floods. And so that kind of became my focus, and helping the area that I grew up in. And then COVID hit, wanted to come back home and be a little bit closer to my family. And so bought a house in Yuba City, and then had a fabulous opportunity to now work for the Yuba Water Agency as their flood risk manager.
So wait a minute. So that's where you work now?
Yeah, I work for the Yuba Water Agency.
Why didn't I know that?
I told you that last time, Fish.
How did I not get that?
And then we talked about your favorite Yuba Water Agency.
Oh, Dee Cordell. Dee Cordell.
Was not me. And you kept digging that hole a little bit deeper.
So listen.
And I was like, Fish, at this point, it should be me. Dee loves you. It's me you're trying to impress.
Okay, but what happened with Dee is she's got this golden voice for radio. She's amazing.
She's incredible. I love Dee too. I can't really fault you.
I ended up meeting her, and they contract with us. They do spots on here so we can promote what they do. But she sent the spot. We had her read, and I was like, and this this girl's got a great voice for this. Well, it turns out she actually did that before she does voiceovers and stuff. And so that's how I got connected with Dee Dee.
She's amazing.
And so
that great voice comes with a great personality. And
she is. She's very,
person.
very cool. Very cool. Yeah, everybody at the water agency is. I haven't met anybody at the water agency that hasn't been cool.
I haven't either. I just
think there's something about it working there. It's in the water.
It's in the water. There's that joke.
Couldn't resist that one. I apologize. That was like a dad joke right there. And
so bad.
Bad dad joke. That was both, right? And so do you currently still work there?
Yeah. Flood risk manager. So I focus, work with our reclamation districts, and work with federal and state partners to really work on the flood issues in Yuba County, which is home. And so it all kind of just coalesces into something that's really meaningful.
You know, I get this impression from you, and I'm this way, so maybe this is our connecting point.
This is our chemistry.
Yeah, the county, it blurs. Yuba City, Marysville, Yuba County, Sutter County, it's just a blur. To me, it's all one. And so when you were talking about, I work for the water district, which is in a water agency, which is in Yuba County, but I live in Yuba City, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's like we have the radio station and the podcast. All that's in Marysville because we got to be in the Hart building. I love this old building.
It's an amazing building.
Oh man, I just wish the elevator worked. But other than that, but it's been good
climb.
for me. I'm getting healthy. But I live in Yuba City, and I love Yuba City. I know so many people on both sides of the river that to me it's just kind of a blur. You know, it's like, well, you just live here.
And I love that it's one community. It's the Yuba Sutter area. And I haven't lived a lot of other places, but I don't see that. I don't know if it's a lot of like that anywhere else, but I feel like we're such a unique community.
I've traveled. Well, the military, they traveled me.
Oh.
They traveled me.
Yeah, they did.
But I've traveled a lot, been overseas. I've loved the places I've lived. I lived in Japan for 3 years, and I loved it. I lived in northern Japan, and it was like farm country.
Yeah.
So I was born in Brooklyn, right? And I lived in St. Louis, and so I've been big city. But I don't know. I love this here. And to me, it almost reminds me of the Midwest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It has that feel.
With the California prices.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I wish we could do something about that. But it's like, that's not going to change. So I want to talk about your secondary job.
Yeah.
Which is the Beale.
Chair of the Beale Military Liaison Council. We call it BMLC.
Yeah.
But nobody ever knows what that acronym means. Dee Dee taught me acronyms are not the way to go. But
I think I was just talking to the interns because I'm teaching them how to do podcasts, and it's like one of the kids works in theater.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if you're going along and you're talking about it, and you said, well, the gaffer did this. I've seen that in movies.
Yeah.
Gaffer, first gaffer. Oh, there's more than one gaffer, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what a gaffer is. So if you use terminology that they don't understand, that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
So and acronyms are. So how did it exist before you, or did you start it? Or?
No, it's been in the community for over 40 years. In 1985, I want to say.
Wow.
Yes. So it started then.
So how did little Sammy get involved with that?
I have been involved one way or another for probably 20, 25 years. And so my mother, Sami Nall, was the chair of BMLC before me. And the previous chairs, she had been on the BMLC before. And so she, tugged me along to everything. And I just made incredible friendships through that. When I was little, and I became an honorary commander to one of the squadrons, the 9th IS, 9th Intelligence Squadron, Bashers, who used to process the U-2 film when they had film a long time ago. And so I just I loved it. And some of the friendships I have made through being an honorary commander are lifelong friendships and have changed my life in the better. Understanding what our military does. I'm an only child, so
I figured that.
Yeah, everyone always was like, "Oh, you should join the military," and I go, "I'm not one to take instructions. I don't take commands very well. My mom knows that." But this is my way of giving back to those who serve.
So you get it. And in part, you have an absolute respect for the structure.
Absolutely.
But you're a free thinker.
Yes.
And that was when I was in, that was the difficulty. I could see beyond what was going on and unfortunately didn't have the maturity to know when to change it. I went in the military 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah, I went in, I was drafted in 1969 and in the Army. And I called my recruiter, an Air Force recruiter, and I said, I just come back from California and got my letter. And I said, hey, I got drafted. And he said, you can't go in the Army. I said, what do you mean I can't go? They drafted me. Uncle Sam needs me, right?
Yeah.
He goes, no, you already signed up to go in the Air Force. I said, and I knew I'd talk to him. That's why I called him. And I said, I didn't sign anything. He said, come down here right away. You're on delayed enlistment. So he called the draft board. And the next thing I know, like in 3 days, I was on a plane heading for Texas, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it was really crazy. It happened so quickly. And so I did 4 years, did all my time overseas.
Oh, wow.
The only time I was stationed was I discharged at McClellan.
Okay.
And then I went back in the 80s. I went out to Mather and was with the 940th with the Fuelers, which they're out there.
I love those guys.
Oh man, I flew with them. I loved that job. And at that time, I was training people to do air-based ground defense, which was all the Army stuff. Because after Vietnam, the Army said, "You guys are going to defend your own bases."
Yeah.
So it changed what security forces did, and I had the opportunity to be in on the training for them. Then I got out and I was doing an interview with a recruiter. Never interview a recruiter. I mean, what was I thinking? You would think I knew better. And then I found out that there was a state guard, and I went back and went through officer candidate school.
Oh, wow.
And that was quite an experience. So I love the whole atmosphere. That's why I was telling you, I got out there and I was just like,
How do you not at the air show? Oh my gosh. How do you not just go crazy and just be like amazed? Yeah.
So in the capacity that you have of doing that, tell me what that is. Because, I mean, obviously it's a liaison between the community and Beale. But what does that look like, Sami? What does that look like, and where do you want to go with it?
So our tagline, we have a few, but really the heart of it is trying to make a difference for our airmen out at Beale, airmen and their families and guardians, now that we have Space Force out there. Really looking at the whole family of Team Beale and trying to make a difference in bettering their lives because of their sacrifices they give our country.
Yeah.
Fish, I don't think I ever told you this, but thank you for your service. It's an honor to know you. For that.
It's a big deal to us guys that came back after Vietnam. And I know I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it was just very, on Facebook, periodically I'll see these videos of the guy coming home and surprises the person. And those are really great videos, right?
Tear jerkers.
Yeah. And when I came home, that didn't happen. And so it was like, even with my own family, and with some of my family. And so it is a big deal. And I appreciate it when people thank me because I don't know. I just grew up differently. My dad was, we were immigrants. My dad was the only one born in this country, came in through Ellis Island. And my dad believed in his country. He was 35 years old when World War II hit, and he enlisted at 35, jumped out of airplanes. I mean, at 35, you're an old man in the military. I mean, I hate to say it, but 35.
That's incredible.
They called him Pappy. He was like, and so us kids were just, all of us were, we were going in. We just knew if Vietnam broke out, we're all going in. All of us did. And so it was a very different atmosphere. And I think it helped me, regardless of what people thought, to have a comprehension of our military and how significant it is. And then what you talk about, I don't think people realize young airmen do not get paid well. It is not like people think. I think they think, well, yeah, but you live on base, so you get your food's free, your boarding's free. Listen, it's very hard to get a clear understanding between the two. And so when I met you, I intended at some point to have that conversation with you. It's like, Sami, what will make that work, right? And it's why I was so willing. What can we do to promote what they do?
And honestly, I mean, you talk about the pay, and it's, as we already talked about, California prices aren't cheap, and Beale is rural. It is, from here, it's still a 20-minute drive to get to the gate, let alone get onto the base and where it is. It's 23,000 acres, that base is. Yeah. And our airmen don't always want to live there. They're young. They want to have a life. And so they live in the communities, and, they don't, and there isn't always housing available on base to support that. And those utility bills on at the income they get, it's a conversation we try
not
to
all
have.
of the young men can afford a car.
Oh, yeah.
They don't all just have a car.
Or gas.
Yeah, if they get
any
a car.
of these things. Yeah, it's tough for our airmen.
I actually, after my last assignment, was at Beale. I was with the 195th.
Oh, the Air National Guard. We love those guys too.
So I connected with them. I met a general, and he said, Fischetti, you were security forces. I said, yeah. And he said, he learned to fly on the fuelers. Okay. So I told him, I said, when were you at Mather? And he told me, I said, dude, I didn't call him dude. I said, General, I walked around your aircraft. I'm sure I walked around your aircraft. So anyway, he said, I want to start a unit. I want to connect up at Beale. Would you be willing to do that? And that's when I ended up, I was the executive officer for our organization up there. And that's when I went to Beale, because that's in my backyard. Mm-hmm. So now the stuff you're talking about, I can relate to. Yeah. So it isn't just I went out to the air show. Yeah, I was assigned there. And so I can see it. Plus, I get what you're talking about. Yeah. It's like, hey, they're just trying to have a normal life.
Yes.
Right? And even though potentially they'll get a raise, well, when they get a raise, it's not like what we think, I can change jobs and get a raise. You say, well, yeah, but they can get promoted. It's not that much difference. And it takes a long time for them to arrive at a rank where they really can sustain a family, is where I'm going with this.
Absolutely.
So you have young airmen that maybe would like to get married, but they're looking at their paycheck going,
can't afford it.
Yeah. And if I stay in, right? And so you do hear about guys getting out. This cracks me up. I've talked to a bunch of people who say, well, I worked out there, then I got out and went back in as a civilian, worked in the same shop, but made a lot more money.
And it's true. And, especially when they do get married, and then their wife or their spouse is moving every 2 years, and it's hard to sustain a career and have a dual income.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of challenges for our military members that, one of the things BMLC does to try to make those differences is to advocate on some of the challenges that our airmen see and have, as well as just Beale in itself.
So what kinds of things can BLMC do? What if I'm just your average Joe out here, or your average fish?
Average fish.
I'm your average fish. How can we help? How can the community get involved to help the airmen? And I mean, I know some of them, they're actually working 2 jobs. Sometimes if they are married, their wife has to find a job so they can, and then like you said, they get settled, and then 2 years later they're moving.
Uprooted.
So what can the community do, Sami, that would make a significant difference?
So what BMLC does, we have a 3-prong approach. So we advocate. So we fly our board, which is all volunteers. We have a five board members right now. And we fly back to the East Coast, to DC, the Pentagon, the Hill, as well as Langley, to really talk to leadership about our our topics. And we do it a couple times a year. But we also partner with Beale in different ways to do quality of life projects. And so anywhere from flipping burgers for 400 airmen and hot dogs and all the fixins, just to feed them to know, hey, our community loves you.
Oh, that's cool.
And so all the way to partnering with specific groups to build spaces. For example, the 548th, which is one of the intelligence tenants out there. Last year we partnered with them to build an outdoor space with a pickleball court. Literally a big ass fan. That's actually the brand.
Yeah, I know about those. People laugh, but that's really it's the name of the fan.
Not just, and it is big. An outdoor kitchen area so families can come and they can have an outdoor space to congregate and kind of just talk and be human. And so we partnered with the group to kind of help create that. So the airmen put in the sweat equity and we helped provide some of the funding. And so, if anyone's interested, we always are looking for volunteers for different projects. And there's always financial donations that really help us partner with Beale, and we often provide the funding for them, and they provide the sweat equity to build that.
Do you guys do because I know nonprofits,
yes.
Right? So I do want to make this clear that you're a nonprofit.
We are in 501c3.
And so do you guys do an annual fundraiser or something like that because I know, man, doing this job, I run into everybody that's nonprofit, and we're nonprofit.
Yeah.
And so I get it. So do you have like an annual event?
We do. We are turning right around from the air show and gearing up to do our annual patriotic golf tournament out at Peachtree, August 21st. I think it's that Friday is the 22nd, I believe. And so we're gearing up for that. That's 72 more days away. And I'm just like, oh, wow, I'm still reeling from the air show. But so that is our biggest money maker, or really our only fundraiser right now.
So Kurt and I, we're both security forces when we were, and we are willing to drive the air conditioning golf carts for security.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I mean, we're in, right, Kurt?
I like it. I like it. You're hired. We'll
I still have my beret. I'm good, right? I look good in that.
Will you stop for photos?
Yeah. It's like I still have my uniform, for crying out loud. So you have the golf tournament, but on a regular basis, like we have a web page and people can go there and donate.
Yes.
And then I tell people, if you can give $10 a month, you make a difference in those small donations.
Yes.
Every nonprofit appreciates, a large donation. We've had a couple here that have really helped us progress in what we're doing, but they appreciate that. Well, so is there a BMLC?
BMLC.org.
God, that's easy.
Yeah, BMLC.org. There is a big red donate button in the upper right corner. It's kind of like the easy button.
Quarter page, right? I want one of those.
And the website really dives into more about what we do. As I mentioned, we are all volunteers. So none of the donations go to pay our salaries or
because all these are probably working.
Yeah.
I probably know some of your board members.
I'm confident you do.
Yeah.
We have...
I talked to one of your donators, and I told him he was a board member. A board member. He said, I'm not a board member. And I went, oh, sorry.
No.
So you have people that get it and give. That's my point. They don't have to be a board member to give.
No. we have a lot of supporters and a lot of bigger companies that support us, especially in our golf tournament. We have Northrop Grumman, who's usually our patriotic
That's cool.
title sponsor. We have Lockheed. And so we have some great, incredible companies, and we have local companies. Dave Shaw supports us. I know you know him.
Dave supports us. Dave supports everything that goes on in the
We're so
community.
appreciative. And North Star Construction and Sierra Central Credit Union, Giveke Ford. We have a lot of local community
Great companies,
sponsors.
great local companies.
Yes.
Shaw was military.
Yeah.
And so he was Air Force, as a matter
He
of
was
fact.
out there. He was out there, I
Yeah.
think, all 3 days, if I recall. I think I saw him all 3 days of this air show.
I didn't go. I wasn't there on Saturday. I worked the Friday.
Lucky you.
And then, so I saw it. Gary was interviewing Dave Shaw, so I knew David stopped by the booth. And, I do want to give a shout out, Colonel McLeese. What an incredible man. I've known a lot of military commanders.
Yeah.
And it's the ones that genuinely care about the troops that you remember. And he's that kind of guy.
We are lucky to have
He
him.
is.
We're
We are
lucky
very-
to have him as our wing commander.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're so grateful.
But all of them that I met, just great bunch of guys out there, and because I hadn't met them before,
Yeah.
so we had a chance, which I'm very appreciative to really have their PAO office,
yeah.
right, public affairs. Gather them all together, get them in here for podcast, get them in the booth so we
PA,
can
yes.
interview them. I mean, it was just amazing. So Charlene and that whole bunch out there, it was really good. And that's really what I would like to see happen. How do we continue to keep Beale in front of the people? So the air show is great. And man, I think a lot
glad
of people.
it's done.
Yeah.
It was great, but I'm glad
not doing
it's done.
that
I'm
every
still
weekend.
feeling like the blisters on my feet. I'm like hobbling everywhere. Those stairs were brutal to me
Oh,
coming up here.
I know. Yeah. So you guys have the golf tournament
Yes.
coming up. So if somebody wants to help with that,
Yeah.
is there a spot on your webpage that says I'd like to volunteer? How do they help?
Come reach out to bmlc530@gmail.com.
Oh, okay.
And then reach out there. I think there is a contact. I'm sure there's a contact. I've been so focused on the air show website. I haven't even looked at ours recently. But I'm confident that there's a how to contact us. Let us know. We love for help. We're always looking for help. And we do really great things, and we have really great events that we hold. And so absolutely.
Well, I am absolutely amazed because now I will never forget you.
Until the next time.
I don't care how old I get. I get Alzheimer's and I'll remember you. People say he doesn't remember anything. Sammy, where's Sammy?
I love it.
Where is she?
I got to make that impact,
Yeah,
right?
So I'm really. I just want to tell you, I'm glad that you were willing to come in the tank.
Absolutely.
Not everybody is willing
you.
to do that.
I'm an introvert. It was a hard one.
I know, and it's like at the same time, you have this side of you that's very inviting, right? So even though you're an introvert, you're not like, stay away from me.
Yeah.
Although you might end up being that way with me. I better figure that. So I want you to reach down next to your chair. Yep.
Oh.
Now you only get that if you get in the tank.
Thank you. This was worth it.
So
this is everything. I love that. This is everything.
If you brave the tank, you get a cup.
This was worth it. Thank you, Fish. Thank you for having us or having me and letting me talk about a passion that I have for our airmen and our guardians. I always forget that. Sorry.
Why do they
Space
call them
Force.
guardians?
Because they guard our space.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know what the Space Force is, but I didn't realize they were called Guardians.
Yeah, so Air Force is called Airmen, and our Space Force members are called Guardians.
Is that
Not
cool?
Guardians
Did you
of
know
the
that?
Galaxy, but yeah, there are Guardians. They guard our skies. I mean,
Yeah.
beyond the Air Force.
Yep. Yeah.
They guard our atmosphere.
I'm not re-enlisting until it's too late for me.
I don't know. That's Space Force. Their little symbol, it's pretty cool. I would be
Star
like,
Trek.
ooh.
I mean, it's like, that's what I
was
thought.
geeking
First
out.
time I saw that, I went, it's Star Trek.
So cool.
Well, that's okay. Musk wants to go to Mars. And it's like, I think, so I said something to somebody and they said, let's start out with the moon. You know, but how you going to live on the moon? Well, how you going to live on Mars, right? It's like-
Exactly.
but when you think of Space Force, although it's not that type, right? It's not
No.
the travel. It's the guardian of everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I just
That's
got a
cool,
briefing. Yeah, and they do some really incredible things. And as we already talked about, I love school. So learning about all the things they do, I was like, ooh, maybe that'll be my third master's instead.
Sammy's going back to school.
If I
folks.
could.
She's in. It's good for her.
I'm sold for that.
All right, but anyway,
Thank you. Thank you for this.
Thank
This is
you.
special.
I'm glad you were willing to come in, especially since I
love you, Fish.
Had not remembered.
We're good. We're good.
All right. So listen, we want to thank you for watching this episode with Sami Nall. And I hope you heard what she said. It's not just her passion for the airmen and guardians out at Beale. It really should be all our passion. They are our community. It's not like them and us. And, also, we live in an area where there are so many veterans here. People who were not just ones that were stationed at Beale and then retired and stayed here, because it isn't just Air Force members. There's Marines and Navy and people that this area just has a lot of veterans. So you would think, well, veterans are automatically going to be concerned for the airmen. But really, it's our community. It's not just because you've been in and you get it, although I'm very grateful for that. So you have a chance, go to
BMLC.org.
BMLC.org and hit that big red donut. Hit that big red donut. Donate button. Sammy's got me all flustered here. I can't. Remember to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave a comment. And we'll see you at the next time that we have In the Tank with Fish.